Truesonians. Okay, so this little clip, this little snippet might get a little tricky. It might, it may become triggering. It may. Not sure yet how it's going to come over, but I feel led to record and post this. Okay, so I have a question. Being born, being situated, being positioned inside of a society that has the epigenetics of fright, fear of life, and the burning down of one's livelihood, which is attached to the historical value of your people's lives always being dispensable. And the letting down of guard, the letting down of one's guard could literally mean life or death. The letting down of one's skepticism. The whole thing, the thing that has told your kinfolks for generations, don't ever let them catch you slipping, because that could very well be your life. Seeing the entire society play in your face, play with your money, make laws that determine where you can go and be. How affectionate do you figure this group of people will be? And this isn't just for one lifetime or 2 lifetimes. There are quadruple lifetimes attached to this here. The thing that always perpetuates fear of life, fear of livelihood, fear of disenfranchisement. I always want to say disenfranchisement. It just feels better. Disfranchisement. Always getting picked over. Always getting divided and conquered. How affectionate and openly responsive do you figure this group of people will be? So I wrote a little piece. And I started writing it on Wednesday, August 14th at 8 a.m. DMV Standard Time, of course. And just now decided to finish it. And it all came from an advertisement that I saw from Tony and Sage Robbins. And it's called the She's Unstoppable Summit. And they have put together this summit to talk about life's complexities. But once again, what I instantly noticed is that there probably wasn't even 5 Black people in the group. And then I just honed into the advertisements themselves, because I'm noticing that just about every video I click on, there is Tony and Sage Robbins. And here's one thing that I noticed. That when you are of another cultural denomination and you are able to grow and be raised and cultivate life in a safe environment, you are free with your affections. You are open with your thoughts. You are reconcilable. You are reflective. And you are engaging, and you will invest in discovery and you will be solid in your history, and you will be proud of your genealogy. Like, there is just so much that this society refused to acknowledge as support, because it isn't always all about the money. And yet we struggle with wondering why our men and women struggle with being openly affectionate, being openly true, being openly expressive. People that look like me would get killed, even to this day, for speaking their true thoughts, especially if it goes against the status quo. But I see, and this isn't a strike against Tony or Sage Robbins, but I see how freely affectionate they are. I see how this man can be sovereign in his emotionality. It won't cost him his work, his income flow. As a matter of fact, it probably will do just the opposite and bring him further abundance, because he is a full-grown man in sovereignty of his emotionality. So the piece that I wrote, the title is called Rites Overnight. EQ, IQ, check-in. So EQ means emotionality and IQ means intelligence. Do a check-in. But this isn't about the check-in itself, more so about the invitation to check in. Because it always starts with self. It always starts with one being honest about how they truly feel about any person, place, or thing, including themselves and where they are in their life, or where they've been, or where they figure that they're going. So, rights overnight. Last night, before I drifted off, I had a silent conversation about my rhythms, my flows, my ebbs, my goes. Plus the glance of my satisfying expectations. Being able to check in with my thoughts and feelings and acknowledge them without the need to immediately stuff them in a narrow-mindedness of right or wrong, knowing that they just are. I am learning to harmonize that which is known as the emotional clickbait. Today, I continue to notice how glad I am that you are here, especially now that I am clear about who I am and why I am here in this lifetime. Now an elder of this present generation and upcoming leaders of self. Your superpower is that you make everyone around you feel seen. This is no easy feat. The African greeting, I see you, is genuine Sankofa-styled relations. You teach by example and you lead so others may sample. You know what it's like to have no shoes, so you never forget about those that have not. In this society, there's a constant battle of the haves and the have-nots, to the point where we will literally dismiss and begin to judge those that do not have, without ever connecting the dots that it's part of an agenda. Those on the bottom got to stay down so those on the top can stay up. And every time I think about high vibes and low vibes, I always go to the chakra system. And the low vibes are the roots. And yet and still, mainstream continues to tell people that low vibes is somehow the plague. And I tell you what, If you don't pay attention to them roots, always gonna be some strange fruit.